When I was introducing you, like my brain was automatically going, okay, like comedy sex versions of everyone's names. So it was going to be Pantserine and like Tit Face. It wasn't like I was thinking about it though. My brain just started doing it by itself. Like I had to think and stop my brain from doing that because it was just like just dropped into
You're
that
just an
mode.
instant degenerate.
Exactly, it's like instinctual.
Yeah.
To go.
The newest defense. My brain made me do it.
Hello and welcome to the QUACKCAST. This is QUACKCAST 536. I'm Ocean, and with me is Tance, Baines, and Pitface. Hello.
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 So we're going to be chatting about a topic that was influenced by the DC thing. You know, heroes don't do that. Batman and Catwoman can't perform the act of cunnilingus. And also, you know, like,
Oh, you did say it.
what do your characters? Where do your characters draw the line? You know, where do you draw the line for a lot of characters on, you know, comics or TV, that kind of thing. But before we get into that, I have to bring up the featured comic. QUACKCAST is going to tell us about Staff and Steam. Tell us about that, Quai. Now.
Hello, this is QUACKCAST, and the feature I've selected for this week is Staff and Steam by Socrates, and it is rated M for mature. The world is set during the Great War in the early 20th century through the 1940s. Part historical, part fantastical steampunk future. A group of Access members look for ways to take control while an escaped prisoner finds his way into a nurse's quarters. This is a story of two worlds and two very different souls. The comic is drawn in full-colored pages. Parts of this comic are bilingual in the German language. Join Madame Puddlesocks as she boards the Einhorn and read Staff and Steam by Socrates, rated M.
And that was Quai telling us about Staff and Steam. So let's talk about the featured music. So I cannot forget that. Well, so Gum Wallace has given us a nice, lovely little theme to a comic called Sweet Gum. Sweet Gum. Hot summer's day in the shade, looking out over the wide expanse of a fresh green sunlit valley where you can see to the limit of your dreams. Far mountains dissolve into the sky and the world goes on forever. So take it away, Gum Wallace, with Sweet Gum. So we're back again after Gum Wallace's brilliant piece of music for the comic Sweet Gum, which is a comic by Bitter Badger, and it's rated E, so you should probably check that one out before it gets featured, because it's obviously a very nice little comic. If it hasn't been featured already, I don't know. I really forget what's been featured and what's not. So we're talking about, oh my god, heroes don't do that! Which is the Twitter reaction, I suppose, more than the anything else. So yeah,
Got the pearl clutching.
What's that, Thomas? Oh, pearl
You forgot
clutching.
the...
Ooh, heroes don't do that. So yeah, so apparently there was the third season of Harley Quinn. Jeez, I've only seen the first season. It hasn't. I'm so disappointed. So yeah, Batman and Catwoman were meant to be getting it on, and Batman was going down on Catwoman. Apparently, according to these two guys who were interviewed, two guys who actually, had a big role making the series, and they said in an interview that DC, the official word from DC, we don't know who at DC, had come down and said, "Oh my God, no, heroes don't do that," to a cunnilingus scene, and that was taken off. And really don't know whether what was meant by that was heroes don't ever have oral sex, or heroes don't ever have cunnilingus, or that heroes just don't do it on screen. So who knows? But anyway, the Twitter sphere has taken it to be that they meant that heroes don't actually do oral sex, because that's how it's the funniest kind of way. It's the most, you get more mileage out of that approach, I think. So that's they've taken that idea and run with it, and they've had all sorts of funny reactions to it. But we're spinning this off into a QUACKCAST topic about what is the limit for your own characters. Or what is the limit for, say, say Indiana Jones, or Luke Skywalker? Oh God, no, please no, we're not talking about that. But Frodo, yeah, there's something. There's a famous character that everyone will know, and or
you don't want to discuss Luke Skywalker, but you'll discuss Frodo. That's because of Star Wars overkill.
Yeah, well, our own particular Star Wars overkill, because we do it a bit
Well,
too
we
much.
do know Sam is doing it. He has lots of kids, so he's doing it.
But is he doing it on screen, or would he ever do that? So that's interesting.
It was after his happy. Well, it was off screen in the sense that nobody cared. They were in their hobbit hole.
They're right up in that hobbit hole. Well, obviously Sam visits that hobbit hole a lot.
Writes itself, doesn't it?
It does.
Anyway, characters like Frodo and Luke basically are clerics, monks, and individuals that generally are designed to be completely solitary, the way that they are. They have this sort of, not exactly about celibacy, but the way they are built, I would say, and the way that they approach things implies that they do not engage in sex.
Well,
But as a choice, not as a rule.
yeah, that's a good point. Especially Frodo. I think Frodo is really like an eternal monk. It's quite weird. Well, say, what about God, my brain's just going back to frickin' Star Wars, because we've got that in our heads all the time. It's terrible. But okay. What was that character? Indiana Jones. Okay, so so Indiana Jones, what about him? Would you expect him to do that on screen? I mean,
Yes.
These days it would be gross, because
Yes.
what, like 70-year-old
Yes.
Harrison Ford going down on a lady in a film? I think that would be not really what
I
you
hope
want
that
to see.
I hope he wouldn't be the type of creep that he would be 70 years old and go down on someone that could be his granddaughter. But as a
God.
person, doing his peers Absolutely, yes.
I don't know. I think with the style of storytelling that Indiana Jones has established so far, I don't think we've ever really even seen a sex scene in Indiana Jones so far. Because it's very.
It has been implied a lot.
But there's not even been bare boobies or anything that I can remember.
Yeah, it's only been implied. I think the closest they came to showing anything was maybe the Last Crusade, if I'm remembering right. Like they're in bed together, they're kissing and they're in bed together, and then sort of obviously something's going to happen, and they sort of cut away.
Yeah. And I don't like easy women, and she says I don't.
Yeah.
Like aggressive men. I don't remember what she says because
I don't like fast women, he says.
Yeah.
I hate arrogant men.
That's it. That's
yeah.
And then in the two Joneses in a fireplace with the room burning scene, like just before, it is very explicitly stated that she had sex with both of them.
Yeah, with his dad previously.
I think that was more very cringy, though. I mean, that was when I saw it. I just thought, oh, that's very out of character for this Indiana Jones, this kind of thing. I thought that was
really. I mean, I always pictured him as a guy that he would totally bed any woman that was willing and appeal to him. No problem.
Not so much for the characters that was out of character. I mean, for the series, for the style of storytelling, I thought it was out of character for that. Just that doesn't.
I think
it was the most sexual in terms of content, but it was just conversation, you know.
Yeah.
But,
and it also
the
shows the extent that Elsa would go to do what she wanted. Like she has no limits.
That was really what it was about. I mean, awkwardness between Indy and his dad, like upping that kind of comedic awkwardness that was there. But also it told you something about Elsa, her villainous self, and that she would do, not that sex was villainous, but like just her character. And like what she would do. She was,
and also again how both Joneses would approach that, because at some point, Senior says to Junior, "Well, I didn't trust her. Why did you?" So
because he didn't take my advice. Says Donovan, and then but we don't have to recite the whole movie because I don't think anyone had sex with Donovan after that, as far as I remember.
I can't remember it well enough.
Yeah.
All right, some mixed opinions on Indiana Jones. Okay, what about Vin Diesel's character in Fast and Furious? I think he would totally do anything, that character. That's
Yeah, I just don't think anyone would be interested.
On screen.
I think he's we have a name. We have a name for that type of guy in Greece. It's not incel because they are not malicious. They are just the guys that are super overt, like peacocks, that never get it, but they are peacocks. But they never go like they don't turn rancid. Is what I'm saying. It's just that you have this guy, and we call these guys kangaroos for some reason. So yeah.
So it's just all display. Oh, fair enough. But okay, yeah. So we're developing a bit of a picture here. I'm trying to think of popular main. Okay, Superman. Like for me, I came at comics from the old, like the Batman TV series, the live action Batman TV series, where that comes out of that Silver Age kind of tradition of Comics Code Authority and characters are more safe and, child safe. And then, the Super Friends cartoons and all these cartoons that came from the 60s and the 50s and stuff like this. and like the early 70s, and that's where I first, even like print comics, I was sort of reading comics from that era as well. So I have this really kind of innocent, childlike kind of view of superheroes. You know, my own superhero origin story. So and then like the films, like the Christopher Reeves film and the earlier George Reeves TV series, you know, the old-fashioned black and white one. So I have this image of Superman as like pure Boy Scout. So it would really shock me to see Superman, you know, like sexual on screen. It would scandalize me.
Honestly, I want to reference the one story arc of Spider-Man where he killed Mary Jane with his radioactive semen.
What?
Oh,
You know that?
No.
I thought
Wow.
he killed her by catching her and breaking her neck or something.
No, that was
Gwen Stacy. Yeah, that was
Oh,
somebody
right.
else. Yeah.
But that aside, the only reason I couldn't see Superman being sexual was not that he wouldn't want to, but there was this approach that he generally seemed to have of the cardboard paper world, where he says many times that he has to be extremely careful with everything that he interacts with on Earth because everything is so fragile.
Yeah.
So to have sex with or anyone else in this mindset normally would be like the most stress-inducing thing, and I really don't know how he would perform just with the fear of breaking her.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I would think that he wouldn't do any sexual acts, but not because he wouldn't want to.
Oh,
He's
God.
basically portrayed as like he's an alien, but he is as human as he gets. Like he's superhuman, but he's human. So I would see him being very frustrated in that way, like frustrated, not as we mean it, like he's sexually frustrated, so he acts out, but being very lonely in the sense that he doesn't risk it because he loves, you know, the people that he loves.
Yeah.
That's how I conceived it. But apparently, he can have kids with Lois, no problem. He figured out the force that he can use,
Oh, my Lord.
and now he can do it. Maybe he practiced.
He's
Maybe
calibrated
he
it.
practiced in his Tower of Solitude. So,
Well, or maybe he just
Like, are there
lies-
various dead?
dead trail of dead women. Maybe he just lies there and lets her do her thing.
maybe
That would work.
she takes all the initiative and he just lies there. That would be very underwhelming, I guess. But yeah, I could only imagine. So the thing is, but yeah, I'm going to Google the one about Spider-Man. I think it is like front and center on the cover as well. 1 second.
Really?
Yeah.
What, her in a hospital bed or something?
Yes, there it is in all its glory. 1 second. And then we're talking about sexualizing heroes.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
react.
Talking about sexual heroes. Yeah.
Here is the link to the photo.
All right.
Oh my Lord.
Let's see this.
Oh God. In the Spider-Man comics, Spider-Man Reign, Mary Jane dies due to exposure to Spider-Man's radioactive sperm. Stay curious.
Hashtag stay curious.
Like,
Jesus.
how curious can you be? He was nasty with Mary Jane, and he was radioactive, and he poisoned her. Period. No
Wow.
curiosity involved.
This polonium sperm.
I mean, they did that in the Watchmen, right? The comic, and it was in the movie, I'm pretty sure, where Dr. Manhattan's previous lover shows up to his TV interview, and she got cancer from having sex with him.
Yeah, but that was a plot.
And they do show him having sex also in the... Yeah, they don't show that because that's in the past, but they do show him having sex with his current girlfriend.
Well, Dr. Manhattan's nude everywhere with a big flopping penis. So.
He's always nude also. Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking about something because I have been... imagine that I'm thinking about something. That's true. Pete Face says that it's age adjacent.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Polonium peen.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have said that anyway. But I have been browsing around here on Twitter, looking at all the outrage and stuff. But there are a lot of people posting actual comic pages of pretty, not exactly explicit, but bordering softcore, okay, between Batman and Catwoman usually.
Oh.
Yeah, and there are also some other ones. I think that the issue might have been of the actual particular sexual act, like the man doing this for his partner, lady. So, because there is this thing, I remember there was this one tweet by some rapper, I don't remember his name, where he said that he gets the equivalent from his partner, but he doesn't give the equivalent to his partner because he is a king and he doesn't do that, which is odious, just to say it, and also to say it in public. But anyway, so maybe there is also that involved in the sense that Batman wouldn't stoop down to Catwoman.
I don't know.
To do all that.
To me, that sounds like a wishful thinking kind of interpretation in order to manufacture a sense of outrage, in order to create like a funny reaction and like an ongoing kind of just a thing about it to me. Because it doesn't seem logical that they would think that way. Like in the 21st century, in an advanced country like America, that these people are actually having that in their heads and their mindset. Oh my God, Batman would never go down on Catwoman. Oh no, heroes would never. That to me, it doesn't seem logical that they would think.
Like that's his Catwoman, and she has specific character design. Like that's the most unfortunate pairing you could make that argument about, in my opinion. So,
why?
Well, because she is extremely demanding in general. She is, when I say demanding, I mean she is his equal, and he and she have this very intimate relationship, depending on the comic again, where I wouldn't think that they would have that kind of difference in reciprocality, let's say. So either that neither of them would do the down
Oral sex.
or both of them would. It's either or.
Right.
69ing all the way.
69 is different, I think, isn't it?
Well, that's
I
when we're
mean,
saying
it's
both of them would.
yeah, but
Equal.
it's simultaneous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're equal in everything.
Anyway, so yeah, the thing is, perhaps it is just to create a bit of like a stare, cause attention, draw attention, and all of that. But I also think there may be some kind of hang up in there somewhere by someone in this whole mess. Other than that, I don't think it's very important because I don't think anyone would consider Batman not doing it. That's all. Especially, I mean, now in this era and time and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now more than ever, we don't have the Comics Code Authority being a thing, but aside from that, people's attitudes to sexuality are a lot more free and open now than they were.
Mm-hmm.
So, just in their own personal lives. So people aren't really thinking that, particular things are dirty or bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there are also like things that in earlier days, I think that even women wouldn't go down on men. At least over here in Greece, this idea of going down on either of the partners is very, very new. Because before that, it was considered unsanitary. Well, you shouldn't do it. It was dirty and it was demeaning for both. So they wouldn't be doing it. Not because they would not be willing to give to their partner during love making, but because neither of them would consider it as an option, that this is something you do. So there's that.
Well, there are still people like that. I mean, there are many individuals who, don't.
Yeah, but I'm talking in terms of mainstream. Like nowadays, this is not the case. Now, at least from what I see, especially through social media and people talking about things, it is an expected courtesy to both. So over here, I mean, in Greece, okay, it is an expected courtesy. Like if it is done to you, you should do it.
It's a standard Greek greeting, basically. You shake someone's hand.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly how we do it. After we sniff your bum. Yeah, the general thing is that according to the era of how people conceive of what is love making and what is sex and what is demeaning sex, which is a very cultural thing, I think, these things shift and change.
Yeah,
that's it.
Very much so.
Yep,
very much so.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a very cultural thing. Well, speaking of Greeks, what about Xena, warrior princess? Is this something that she would do?
American. She is not Greek. She is American and we love her. And I expect that she would absolutely, totally do it. Yeah. I wanted to, I have in my library a vintage book from the 50s about, which is called The Blissful Couple. And it's basically, it's not a Kama Sutra because it doesn't have any pictures, it only has descriptions, but it tells you how you should have sex with your husband. Yeah. And how like it's addressed to both sexes. And it's really cute the way things are described. It has a very sugary approach, and the whole thing is, okay, you have to please the woman, you have to wait out the woman, you have to not be an idiot with the woman, and everything. But there are a lot of cultural things inside that are very specific to that decade, and some that are universal, of course. And I think that goes. If we were to search, we would find a similar book for every single culture ever, even now. So.
So yeah, it does depend very much on the era that things come from.
Mm-hmm.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah. Which is, I suppose, my attitude when it comes to the whole Indiana Jones thing, which was solidly sort of 1930s and a bit later than that. You know, I'm not talking about like the 1960s crappy last film.
No, it was pre-World War II, basically.
And there was those particular attitudes. And when you look at 1930s films, you know, they're told in a particular way that was appropriate to the culture of the time. And Indiana Jones is a pastiche of that kind of adventurism. And it depicts that era. So, you know, there's a certain stuff that's appropriate to that. And that stuff doesn't really fit. And then, I don't know, I mean, Batman was a character that was invented in the 1940s, but has not stayed crystallized in that era at all. Batman has totally been part of
there are
contemporary.
many iterations.
What's that?
There are many iterations of Batman.
Yeah, he's contemporary to every era that he's written in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's advanced.
And also, I mean, Indiana Jones is not written to be an accurate portrayal of the 1930s movies. It's inspired by the pulps of the era that George Lucas watched, but it's not trying to be a 1930s accurate to the time period or accurate to the movies of the time. That's kind of
no.
I mean, as far as that kind of sensibility goes, you know, they're not.
It's just evoking the feeling of that era, which was the whole
a lot of elements, but
and also the storytelling style and all those kind of things. Like it's like channeling all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that there's also, that's like the cultural part, and there's also the personality part. Like different people would perform sex or do lovemaking in different ways according to their personality, how they connect to the other person. Like there is a lot of context in everything. So that means that if you had the proper context, whatever that was, basically it's like all behaviors, like in sex. Anyone could do anything in sex. So.
Well,
again, that's theory, all right, but I'm saying it from a perspective of socio-psychological perspective. Yeah.
Funnily enough, when I think about a lot of characters, I really don't want to know like the intricacies of their lovemaking.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. In many cases, I wouldn't want to know, and it's sort of like it's not relevant to, especially some of these big iconic kind of franchises and characters. It's like why the need even to introduce the specifics of their lovemaking, like acts they do and don't do. It's a little bit like
it's like does this character do reverse cowgirl? I have to know. Like, geez.
Yeah, it's kind of like weird, kind of. But,
I think that again, it is a matter of the story. Normally, adventure stories, mystery stories, like wouldn't go there. It's a very, like lovemaking and sex are very private. It's a very private thing. It's exactly on the same level, different category, but on the same level as going to the bathroom.
Mhm.
We don't really want to know how they deal with their number one and number two.
Right.
So yeah, it's the same thing. But if there is like a narrative purpose why we should know, then I think it comes in naturally as well for the audience. Like it doesn't feel awkward.
Right.
Well, I've seen, like I said, I've seen the first series of this Harlequin thing, and it's pretty good. It's a bit too like gory and graphic for my tastes generally, but I like the depiction of the characters. And so far from what I've seen, I think I've seen the same show that these people are, talking about. And so far it hasn't been very graphic sexually. I think it is Poison Ivy and Kite Man, the ones who get it on in the series that I've watched. And they haven't really shown anything. It's just like indicated that there's like implied. So I'm not sure what's happening with this Batman. Like, why would they have shown that much? There's the Harley Quinn movie with like Nightwing or something like that. Batman and this is all animated. Batman and Poison Ivy and these characters, and so Robin, Nightwing, whatever this character's called, I can't remember. Like him and Harley Quinn get it on, but not much of that shown. More is shown than in the Harley Quinn TV series, but still, it's not too much is shown. So yeah, I'm really confused about like what people mean when they said this scene like in a thing it's not like R-rated or X-rated or something. So how much could they have shown? I don't even know. Like, is this a whole like manufactured outrage over something that no one's seen and no one will ever see because this scene wasn't even made? What do they
I'm going to guess
would
yes.
have been seen? What?
I'm going to guess, just vaguely knowing this story, I'm going to guess yes. It is like overblown, overwrought, overreaction.
Yeah,
which is the daily thing these days. Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I have to say that I have very little taste for these cartoons, and I'm not saying that they are beneath me or anything. It's just don't keep my interest very much. So yeah, I wouldn't know.
I mean, just looking at the tweet, the basic tweet, it's like they said, Batman, heroes don't do that. And then the response from the creators were like, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? And DC was like, no, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone. Which I don't know if that's true. That's a weird, odd thing. It's like, are they not selling Catwoman toys? Is she allowed to do it? It's just kind of weird. Like, I mean, that's where it comes from, I guess. It's the risk. Like, we don't want to hurt sales.
In the Killing Joke, which I did see, they have him have sex with a teenager, and he still sells toys.
Batman does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But is it that they show, like, how much of the sex is shown?
2/3.
2/3 of a busting?
I was not expecting that answer.
In the sense that they show them up until they undress, she straddles him, and the camera pans away.
Which that's a pretty kind of standard indication of sex, but it's not really showing like we were saying, like the intricacies and all the different positions and movements. And
they are definitely showing a position. Come on now, she straddles.
Yeah.
what I mean is that's symbolic of sex. It's not
She
symbolic.
straddles him very specifically.
Yeah, but that it's
How
that,
else can I say?
what I'm trying to say is that is to show that there is physical congress taking place, and it's meant to be the representation of the fact that sex is taking place, but it's not showing all the kind of sex that happens within that.
I don't think that they would
Love
go
making.
hardcore.
That's what I'm.
They would show that same level of congress by someone leaving the frame in a certain direction, most likely, as usually is done in those situations.
But
What I'm saying is that having him, he's a grown man, he is well into his 30s at least. He's not in the killing joke, I mean. He has to be well into his 30s. And she is not. And they show him having sex with a teenage girl. That is extremely uncomfortable. I cannot even say uncomfortable. And nobody batted an eyelid. He still sells toys.
But what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that just indicating the character have sex, whether it's with a teenage or like a dog or a boy or something like this, whatever level of uncomfortable like thing that it's doing, it's just really indicating that a sexual act is taking place, and it doesn't justify like people going, you show this, then why can't you show that? There's no relationship between those things.
If it is shown in the same sort of shorthand, let's say, right? If it is the same shorthand, you don't see it, but you are telegraphed that it is going to take place or it is taking place, then what's the problem? You can't have that analogy.
Well, I would think that because you've telegraphed sex taking place, all the acts can be happening within this imagined like scene of love.
I agree.
You don't have to see it.
The only thing I'm saying, I personally, I have no skin in this. I don't really care.
Tats has no foreskin in the game. None.
No. I'm absolutely not titillated by
She's completely circumcised when it comes to this.
Yeah. So just the thing I'm saying is that if this animated series is as explicit as you have said, and pushes the limit and blah blah blah, the whole thing, and we already have characters in Congress in different ways, and they just wanted to signal that this particular thing is taking place, perhaps within context of a scene, or showing something specific about the characters, or blah blah blah, that whole spiel. Then I don't see where the problem is what I'm saying. Because I sincerely doubt they would flash the audience with the particulars. So...
They're not going to flash a gash.
Yeah.
So to speak.
What?
They're not going to flash the gash. No, they wouldn't.
So yeah, I think it's only just either for creating some clout, or for the creators that want to put the scene in, they put it on the internet, on social media, Twitter and everything, to exact some pressure to be allowed to put it in. And I know how that sounds, but
I didn't even realize until you emphasized it. Oh my God! So they've got blue balls. That's it. Oh,
yes.
But it is weird that they even said it. But what I would think, logically, I would think that they're being interviewed They want to tell funny stories, and they just want to come up with a quote that is going to get it's going to get media talking, and it's going to be like it's going to be shocking to their interviewer, that kind of thing. Like, these are the kind of things people say, and maybe they hyped it up a bit. They like you do when you're telling stories, you add a bit of color, add a bit of spice, and that's
It could be. I mean, we're not in their heads. They could be thinking or wanting to do any of those things. It's just we're simply talking about the whole idea of, oh, heroes don't do this. In this day and age, heroes would probably do this.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's why I just think that it's overblown rather than being editorial policy. My God, Batman will never perform cunnilingus on a woman ever. Disgusting.
I mean, yeah. Let's yes.
This act is beneath the Batman and the whole Bat family. Actually, none of the
They are all dedicated to missionary. All of them.
It is their mission. They're very monkish. But yeah, it just seems unlikely to me. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but that's just me. Yeah. I don't know. So, Baines, when are we going to see Oscar going down on Penelope, on a Harley, on Abigail, all the characters at once? Oh my God!
Yeah, shortly after I start my Patreon.
That's the last thing we wanted to hear. Like, thank you very much. I didn't want to hear that. Thank you.
It's going to become a
you think that's
meme.
inappropriate?
All our characters, we're going to have to draw our characters like doing this. It's going to be the thing. It's like doing the your version of Sailor Moon in your style. You have to do your characters going down on other characters.
No.
Let's start it. Let's do a hashtag.
Isn't there a rule of the internet that says that it already exists somewhere? Let it stay there.
Hashtag heroes don't do this. Rule 34.
You're on your own on this, so you're on your own on this.
Oh, I don't know. But I think that's what we'll call it, the QUACKCAST. Hashtag heroes don't do this. Hashtag heroes do this.
Do them.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's going to be cunnilingus for everyone. We're handing out free cunnilingus. Oh,
Sometimes
dear.
Seriously. Anyway, but yeah, the thing is, it's probably a whole little firecracker of a thing. Everyone knows that heroes follow the norms of every single era, every particular era, and every particular era has specific rules for lovemaking and sex, and what is derogatory sex. So there we'll have it. It's not really all that hard. It's not at all hard.
Oh, goodness me. Goodness gracious me. Okay, well, I think we'll round off this QUACKCAST with a call to action for people to create their artwork on for the hashtag.
Hey.
Hey. Do your version of your characters. Heroes doing that.
You don't have to do it, guys. Don't listen to him.
Tance is telling us heroes don't do that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they don't have to do anything. Okay?
Oh, goodness me.
You are pressuring people to take sides on something that is silly. Don't do it.
It's the best thing you could ever do when it comes to the internet. All right. Thank you very much for listening to the QUACKCAST number 536. As I mentioned, with me has been Tance, Baines, and Pitt. Pitt had to leave for urgent things, and we're going to all leave now. So, bye-bye, everyone.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye-bye.